Welcome to a video tutorial on one of our Safety Insights dashboard, which is the overview dashboard. So what this really is an overview of your safety culture tenant, showing you all the various attributes, the number of templates, inspections, users, assets, and creating some charts across that so you can delve a little bit deeper into what the data is sort of saying. And the aim of this video is to actually show you how you can interact with the various charts and how they are sort of all linked together and what sort of analysis you can do. So it's a bit of a tutorial on how you can navigate and use charts within the Safety Insights platform. So I want to start off with, this is our overview dashboard for your tenant, and you can see here you've got some KPIs across the top, number of templates, number of inspections, number of failed inspections. So that's an inspection that it has at least one question that has a failed response, and then an average score. So for those templates and inspections that have scoring, what is the average score? And a couple of other KPIs across here, the number of sites, users, and groups. And then what we've got here are then a couple of charts, various types of charts, and we've done that on purpose so we can show you how you can then use them as filters within the data and how they all interact with one another. Now, the first chart I want to show you is the failed inspections analysis chart, pretty much by template. So what we've got here are the number of failed inspections by the number of failed questions per failed inspection. So you can sort of see that we would have a quadrant up here which has high number of failed inspections and high number of questions that have failed. That would be really something we'd want to sort of look out and investigate. But even so, if you've got here, I want to look at, for example, here, failed inspections. I can move that across, and I want to look at, so these are now all the templates that have had inspections that have had at least 6 failed inspections and up to 54. So if I now select OK, my now new context of what I'm looking at is those 7 templates. And if I look up here, I've got my filters. I can always see these are the 7 in question. You can see here they've been ticked. Now from that analysis, I can also go across to here and looking at my sites. So these are, for those 7 templates, the inspections that have been used cover these various sites. And I can see here my business area has the highest number of incomplete inspections for those templates. So if I now select, for example, my site business area by just selecting the chart, I'm now drilling down into more detailed information. So I can see here the context of what I'm now looking at is those 7 templates, but only across business area site level 1. And I can see here there have been 2 incomplete inspections around corporate services. So straight away I can sort of drill down based on my own way of analyzing and looking at things. I've sort of seen that there are 2 incomplete inspections relating to those 7 highly failed templates across site level 1 business area. Now, if I wanted to have a look at everything across site level 1, all I really need to do is remove this filter and I'm back to now a view of what's happening in site level 1. So now these are all the templates. I've got 10 templates that are related to the business area. I've got 80 inspections, 55 have failed, and so forth. So you can sort of see that by the filtering that you do, all the charts are updated in that new context of what you're analyzing. So I can now remove all those filters and I'm back to where I was before. Now if I move across to this bar chart, I can see now I've got a chart now of all my inspections, complete and incomplete by template, colored by the various incomplete and complete aspects. And what I've got here is, and you'll notice some of the charts do have that, it's a drop down. So I can sort of say, well, now I'm looking at those incomplete and complete by template, but what about if I want to look at it by, for example, sites? So I click on sites and I can see now in terms of site level 1, this is where I've got my incomplete and my complete. And if I would now click on, for example, Victoria and confirm the selection, it's drilling now into site level 2 in that hierarchy that I've set up within my site. So now I'm looking at my north and CBD, what the split is between incomplete and complete. Okay, so that's like a little bit of a drill down you can do. Once again, I'm going to go up here and remove my filter and look at another method of analysis, and this one's by group name. And at the moment, I've only got one group, so everything sits under administrators, as an example. So I can put that back to template. Across here, this is what we call a tree map hierarchical view. So you've got here the first level, which is our site level 1, Victoria. And if I click on Victoria as our site level 1, I'm always aware of the context by looking at my filtering up here. And I can see here under those various templates the number of incomplete inspections. So I can see here that my field audit inspection has 3 incomplete inspections for site Victoria. Okay, so that's another way of slicing and dicing by just selecting the various levels within the chart. If I move across here to the bottom left, I've got here just a chart showing performance, so number of audits over time. And what we've shown here is a mini chart, and that actually, whilst we can't see all the data in one because it's a bar chart, we can actually slide across and view in particular areas that might be of interest. So, for example, here, this is my first sort of peak. I might want to look at when that happened. So it was in June, and I can then slice a bit of a different view of the data that way by just dragging and sliding across the date axis, confirming that selection. And I can see here during that period we only used one template, and these are the various responses, and it was all done in Victoria. So I can just deselect that, and we're back to where we were again. Now this chart here is our percentage of audits with failed items by template. And sometimes what you might notice are these gray areas. So gray area here, a gray area here. Now that's because that data doesn't contain any template name. So either the data quality is not the data integrity issue, and for example, the template name or the template's been archived, or the template's been deleted. So we don't have the underlying data for that, but still the inspections are there. So what that shows us is that we have done some data removal, and we've left with those inspections there without any template name. So it just gives you an idea of what's sort of been happening when we see these grey areas in the data. Across here we have average score by template, and we have another scroll bar. We can just scroll through and see the various percentages of template. So really this is not all templates use scoring, so this shows us the ones that do have scoring. And once again I can then slice by different levels. So for example by level 1, so average score by level 1, or I can do by my site level 2, and so forth and so forth. So you can drill and slice against different aspects of the data, also by using the drop downs on the side of a chart, for example. And here is just a pie chart, but because we're only using one group at that level, it's all under administration. Across the top here we have navigation bar. So now I'm in the overview. If I now want to look at some detail, so this is going to be a more detailed view, I guess, of the data. It's really showing us the KPIs across the top as before, but we now have some tabs that we can tab through to get into more detail of what the safety culture environment is showing. Now here I've got my template details, which is really just a table where we can have our template name, description, owner created, and then some number of inspections, what's been the average score if there was scoring, and then a bit of an indicator chart to see where that scoring sits within our red, amber, green. So once again, just a different view on how we can view that data, our 142 templates, and you can then scroll down and have a look at any one in particular. You can also search for a template name. For example, I might just look at any workflow templates, and there it is. There's a test workflow template, so I just select that, and that's then giving me a view of the data. Once again, I can remove that, and I'm showing everything again. Next, we have our failed responses. So really here, so we've got our templates. We want to see how many failed inspections, which we've shown before, but this just gives that data in a tabular form. So we've got number of failed inspections over here and the percentage. So really at this with our investigation report form, which makes sort of sense. So we've really 98% of those inspections have failed. And we've got here on average just over 3 questions per failed inspection are happening. And the last one was a couple of months ago, and it gives you a bit of an idea about the number of days since. Now, as example here, you might see here, while this is a high number, we had 22 failed inspections across failed questions across 13 inspections, sort of an amber type of warning. But if I look across here, the last one was over 3 years ago. So you can see here, over 1,000 days ago. So obviously that was then, this is now, things have improved. That's a good news story. Our global response sets. So what we've found is global response sets are also quite important for customers because they sit across various templates. And sometimes customers want to look at an aggregated view of what's happening. So if we look at our global response sets, we have that as once again, a bit of a tabular view where you've got your global response set name that's been set up, the template that it's been applied to, and what label has been used for that response set, and then the various responses. So if I look across here, I guess you've got a response set driving licenses is against the contractor training record template, but we haven't used the name driver license classes, we've used license classes, and these are the various license responses, and you can sort of see here the number of responses we've had across that, split into a bit of a indicator view, and then the scoring against that as well. If we look at in a bit more detail across here, you can sort of see all the various response sets. So we've got here stock management is a response set. We've used it for actual stock management and for stock take. We've called it an item, and these are the various responses that we've had. For trade, same type of thing. You can sort of see where everything's being utilized. Okay, now with actions, we all know that issues and actions form sometimes a key part for the workflow within safety culture and the inspections. So we have here a tabular view of all the inspections that are in the system, and what we can do here is just scroll down and just have a look at any in particular. We can filter on, for example, all the medium inspections, medium actions, sorry, and the ones that are still in progress. So straight away, I've drilled down into a couple here, and I can then see the descriptor of what that action's about. And once again, I can always see the context of what I'm looking at. I'm looking at actions. I'm looking at all the medium ones that are still in progress. Okay, I can remove that filter now. And just want to show you another thing that we can also do, and I sort of touched on that before. We can also do filtering. So if I do a search here on actions, and I might want to look at all my PI insurance, I can see here it's giving me a list of all my insurance, so I can select everything. But I can see here that my filter also includes PI for pipe, so I don't need that. And this one here as well, it's talking about pipes as well, so I can just remove that. Click OK, and now I've filtered very quickly to my 3 actions regarding PI insurance, and I can see one of those is still in progress. Just remove that filter, and I'm back to everything once again. Now similarly with issues, that can also be done the same way. We've got our categories, issue title, description, priority, status, and so forth. So similar to actions, that can be filtered and analyzed the same way. Next we have our sites. So for those customers that use the site hierarchy, we can drill into various parts of the hierarchy with the different levels, and then gives us a split between percentage of job A in the whole site hierarchy and what type of audit score that has and where it sits in our indicator graph. So another quick way of having an overview of what's happening at the site level. Two others I've got in our overview charts are users, just a list of all the users when they last logged in and how many days ago they logged in, and similarly with assets. So asset code, the type, if they're added to any location, to any hierarchy in the sites, and number of inspections they are allocated against, or they have been allocated against, and if they have any schedule against them, which schedules have been allocated to them. Okay, so that's a more of a tabular view of the data that sits within your safety culture account. Now I just want to move on to failed responses analysis. So once again, we're diving a bit more deeper into some analysis on failed responses as an example. So if I click on failed responses, I can sort of see here we have our chart from our previous overview page with failed inspections and questions. And we also have here a timeline chart. So the week for all the weeks started, our failed questions per failed inspection, so we get an idea if that trend line is up or down. Now this is dummy data, this is demo data, so of course we don't have a full rich history of this, but for those customers that are using failed responses in their analysis, this can give a very good indication to see if we are decreasing, if the trend is down, for the number of failed questions we're sort of holding or having per inspection. But at the moment, yeah, it is down, but yeah, we've got this big spike here because we're doing a bit of data interrogation at that time. Here, so we've got our top 10 failed questions analysis. So if I just scroll down here, we have our templates and our major questions that have failed responses. And I can just move that across there a bit to bring that into context. You can always use, for any tables and things, you can always use the sliders to bring more into view. And I can slide that down a bit more. I can see here I've got my Take 5 checklist. I've got various others I can look at. And here's our SafetyInsights investigation form. So if I select that template, and I see here we've got our incident type, mechanism of injury. I can see here very quickly that body stressing or being hit by an object has the most failed occurrences. And so I could select both of those, body stressing, being hit by an object, and if they have had questions against them, or sorry, comments against them, that would come in this list here. So any failed response that has a question, so additional information, can also be viewed here. That shows you the actual inspection that it relates to. Okay, I'm just going to remove that filter on those two failed responses. And I'm going to keep my SafetyInsights selection for template. And now if I go across to my failed inspections, I can see once again from the context of just those inspections relating to that template, I can see here that the operations site level 2 had the most failed inspections. And also you see here I've got a couple of drop downs, so I can say, well, I want to look at now from the template perspective. And we can see here, of course, that's only the one template that we've filtered on. I can look at it from a user perspective. Looks like I'm the only one who's ever used that template, that has used that template. And also from a inspection started. So we can see here that we've used that, well, basically I have used that template, created inspections across May and June last year and a bit in March this year. And this is when I had the majority in May of high failed questions. And that also is per trade here as well. Now, if I look at, I can also have a drop down here. So that's a perspective of the number of inspections that have failed. And what's that as a percentage of overall inspections for that template. And here you can see here it's all at 100%. So every inspection that I had for SafetyInsights in incident investigation was a failed inspection, which I guess sort of makes sense because we are focusing on incidents. But I can remove that, or I can actually say, well, hang on, I want to look at another audit, and I can search maybe a safety a Safety Insights AI generated one, remove that filter, click OK, and now that's my new context of what I'm looking at. So it looks like here we only did them in August, and there was a lot of issues with paint. They didn't have a forklift license, and so forth. So once again, I'm looking at it from a different view, just those templates in terms of what's failed over time, and so forth. So I can remove that filter, and I'm back to a holistic view of everything again. Finally, we have what we call our platform diagram. So really what this is just a view based on I guess, the structure of how everything sits within safety culture. So this is their, I guess, data structure. And we've got here a bit of a view on, you can quickly see how many inspections we've got. It gives a tooltip that shows you how many completed and incomplete. Very quickly gives you an overview of what's really in there, the status of those actions, the type of assets, the type of hierarchy within the sites, and so forth. So once again, just another view of you quickly being able to apply. And as an example here, we can use the name filter. Might say, well, the demo user. So demo user, what have they been looking at? So they've done 12 inspections, 20 issues. They've been involved in 7 templates and using 3 sites. So here you can also very quickly see who or what's been using the system a lot, for example. And I can remove that filter and do the same type of filtering from here as well. So yeah, have a go. Slice and dice as you wish to investigate the various aspects of your safety culture environment. We hope you can have value in using this dashboard, and I guess it gives you a starting point to sort of see, well, how is safety culture being utilized across the business, and what are the ways potentially to improve that usage. Thank you.